Hey everyone, we'll get back to the podcast in a second, but first I have a new novel out, Holtman Arms. It follows Colvin Hall, an aspiring writer who decides to write a romance novel on a whim, sends it to a publisher, and it becomes a huge success. The only problem is, no one knows it's him because he writes under the pen name Mary Ballantyne. With all of the money and none of the fame, Colvin longs for the world to recognize his accomplishments. When he gets an opportunity to write a freelance article on a washed-up 90s pop star looking for a comeback, that recognition starts to come, but is it all he hoped for? It doesn't matter because he's getting it whether he likes it or not. Holtman Arms is the second in my author's cycle after A Girl and a Gun, and like that previous novel, it explores themes of success and accomplishment in the 21st century. You can buy it now through Amazon in paperback or on Kindle. The link is in the podcast description. As always, thanks for your support.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Direct-to-Video Connoisseur podcast. As always, this is Matt here, and I am joined once again by frequent contributor Ty from Comeuppance Reviews podcast.
Yes, hey, how's it going, Matt? We're back with another tooth of wackiness.
Yes, I rehearsed the opening and I blew it still rehearsing it. I was like, somehow I just drew a blank on Comeuppance Reviews, which is,
that's okay.
You know what it was? So I was going to say collaborator instead of
I thought you were going to say collaborator. And
right.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Somehow contributor came out when I meant collaborator, and that threw the whole thing off. And so, yeah, I'm trying to get better at introductions. I'm trying to, like
it's tricky.
Throw it over to you.
Thanks, Matt. And then it's like a Matt Pinfield from Matt MTV because his name was Matt.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
See, there's Pinfield. That's so close to Pinhead. He could have been Pinhead. He's right there. You don't really change the credits too much. We're already at an insane point.
A fantastic one. And they had a Pinhead, right, who threw. There was not the main Pinhead, but there was another one who threw compact discs at people, right?
Well, I think it's the same. What is that? The same old Pinhead, same old Doug Bradley,
maybe it was the same one. I know there was one that had like multiple Pinheads, but you're right. Maybe it was the same Pinhead.
Oh, you're talking about just the Cenobites or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
but maybe it was the main Pinhead who threw compact discs at somebody.
Yes, that was the third one. And then there's a one called Hellraiser Revelations. I hear that's not very good.
Right.
I hear there's no Doug Bradley. Like,
right.
The past three new Hellraisers, kind of, there's no Doug.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he's tired of putting those pins on his head.
Right. The amount of time in makeup has got to be ridiculous for that movie.
How do you even do that? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, because what Danny DeVito said, like it was like hours of getting on makeup when he played the Penguin in that Batman Returns movie, but it was like that's the only movie I think he's ever done where he's needed to do that.
Yeah, I think he's like, no, I'm just gonna be myself and be wacky, which he does. He's really leaned into that. Actually, I think he's not as insane, but I think because he's an insane guy on Always Sunny, he just leans into that. And he does shell for us. He does or shell, I guess is that word, or shill for a certain shill for a certain Subway shop, which we'll be mentioning very soon. So
yes, yeah, that'll be a good segue when we get to that point. But yeah, so I guess before we jump in, because it's interesting for the people who listen to the podcast, right? It's like it hasn't been a long time since you've been on because
I'm back.
Essentially this is right. It's been a month. It's been every other episode at this point. Yeah. But for us, because of when we recorded the last one, it's been a while since we've chatted. So so anything new? Anything you've been watching lately or anything like that?
I watched Megan.
Nice.
The movie, the killer robot. We had Peacock and go watch the unrated version. I literally watched it less than 24 hours ago. It was pretty good. I think there's some flaws. I'm probably mentioning it on Brett and I'm gonna do another podcast later today.
Oh, nice.
And I'll probably mention that because I just watched it. And I watched Indecent Behavior 1 with the Tweedster, Shannon Tweed.
Oh, yes.
It's a movie you can watch. I guess not much in the plot. It needs more Jan Michael Vincent, if you ask me. But most movies do. So
yeah. It's interesting because when you got Shannon Tweed, I mean, obviously Shannon Tweed is like she's the queen of the erotic thriller, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and so any kind of movie that has like a title like that, you expect is going to be good. But then I think you're right. Like when you if they had no Jan Michael Vincent, you'd probably be like, hey, this is working for me. But the fact that you get some Jan Michael Vincent, you're like, oh, well, why don't I have more than that?
Well, I mean, the plot kind of kicks into gear like in the last like 20 minutes. It's not really much to really hang your hat. I liked it because in Connecticut the other day, it was very snowy. So I didn't really have to go to work. So it's snow days. Like, oh, watching Decent Behavior. It's been sitting in the pile for a while. So, it's like, and it was all right. How about you? What did you watch?
So my wife and I are well, so there's a couple things. So my wife and I are starting to binge 90210. We started from the beginning.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's on Paramount Plus. So we do get Peacock as well. But that's Paramount Plus. One of the things we discovered, which is really not good, and this is actually dovetails with something else I was going to mention.
Okay.
But
Sure.
The original soundtrack songs have been replaced by pop punk songs from the 2000s.
That sounds really weird, like a wrong fit.
It's so my wife picked up on it because she's like, this is not from 1990. And I was like, no, I kind of remember some alternative stuff from 1990 that kind of sounded like this. She's like, no, this is like from the 2000s. So I Shazammed it, and sure enough, it was. So then we looked it up online and we discovered that even the DVD box sets, all the songs have been replaced. So it's not like Miami Vice, right? Remember Miami Vice? They were like, we're not releasing this series unless we have the original songs in it. And they insisted on that. And they were able to do it. This is different, and so it gives the show a really weird vibe because you want there's the reminiscing about all the other stuff that you're seeing. So you're seeing like 90s clothes, you're seeing 90s slang, 90s haircuts, all of that kind of.
And what kind of songs they play? Like Sum 41 or something?
That kind of stuff, but not that like not that level of success of Sum 41, but like that kind, or like Sum 41, like Blink 182, but like the lower tier of that kind of thing.
The lower tier of those people. Oh, no.
Right, exactly. So it's not even like it's like that group. It's like somebody who would have opened for them in show in San Diego or something like that.
So it's like 46 and Eyes 181. It's like,
Let me see if I can pull up one of the names of ones that I Shazam, because it does have them. Let me, because I think Shazam saves your Shazam.
It does. I used to have Shazam, and then it's like, it sucked up all my juice on the phone.
Yes.
So it's like, I just got rid of it.
So one of them is called.
Go ahead.
One of them is called Orange County, and the song is called Far From Famous. Oh yeah, no. The group's called Far From Famous, and one of the songs is called Orange County. The other is called Standing Man Boy. But again, you're like, I'm going to see Blink 182, and Far From Famous is opening for them, along with Save Ferris, or whatever.
Save Ferris. I mean, I've heard of them. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So that's like another one's called Station Victoria. I've never really heard of them before. It's a lot of that kind of stuff. So one of the things you can do is you can actually go on IMDb and see what the original songs were for that episode. And so the last one, my wife. Yeah. So my wife and I will look those up and be like, hey, I wonder what scene that was supposed to have been in, see if we can remember. Because it's a shame that they would do that. Because I think Miami Vice had it right, where they were just like, if we're putting this out, making this available.
Right. I get that. But see, no one gives a flute about Brandon and the gang. So it's just like, so here you go. Here's some fake songs. They're real people, but it's like, no one cares. No one cares about Ian hearing songs in the background. It's just like,
because the songs that they actually used, some of them were hits. Like they used I Want to Be Rich by Calloway. That was a big hit, and that's around that time. Some of that kind of. I mean, we haven't gotten to the point yet. We haven't gotten to the prom where Kathy Dennis performs. So that'll be interesting if she's like.
It'll be all muted. I get to see that. It's like nothing. It's completely muted.
Right.
Freaking Shannon Doherty put a mute button on her.
Right.
And then the song's over, and it's like.
Right. Exactly. Or maybe they cut the whole scene, like with the Skinamax movies that are on Tubi sometimes that are 55-minute runtime, and you're like, okay, I know why this is 55 minutes. It's like,
Well, I think I cut you off. So what was the song playing originally? It was Calloway, or is that?
Right, Calloway. Yeah, I Want to Be Rich. And I don't know what played over it, but we saw it. There's a few other ones that we were like, oh, we wanted to hear that song in the episode, and then it didn't happen. I think there was and it's not even just new songs. Like Nat, right, with the Peach Pit, he would play like old classics there. They were like doing like, I think in some cases they were even like commissioning people to perform songs that sounded like songs from the 50s or in 60s, as opposed to
funny.
like, yeah. So it's a whole, it definitely ruins the experience. I think
Seems
it's,
like it.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think people out there should learn that like these things. I mean, and granted, we're still giving Paramount Plus money by watching these episodes with the So it's like the fact, and my wife was kind of like, maybe we shouldn't keep doing this because it does feel like weird. But then it's like we watched the episode where from the first season where they do like this fashion show and Kelly's mom is like hammered and then doing coke to try to like perk herself back up and just makes a complete ass out of herself, and it's hilarious, and and you watch that and it's just like this, there's this scene where she has this tearful fight with her mom, and then Cindy Walsh comes in and she's like, so how did it go? And it's like she's just like crying, and it's like, how did you think it went? And I remember watching that with my
go ahead. Watch it, Bo. No, please go ahead.
Well, I remember watching that with my dad, and he was like, how do you think it went? And so it's like you still get those funny moments, but like, yeah, without the music it hurts.
It's funny because when you think about it, that's why Saved by the Bell, it's like the comedic version of 90210 a little bit.
Right.
It's like, there's no Screech character. Well, I guess would Ian Ziering be the Screech? I'm not. Maybe.
Well, no, they wanted originally. So I think it was, David Silver was kind of the Screech, but then also he had his friend, right? Remember that guy, the guy who wore the LA Lakers hat? They decided to have him kill himself like later in the season.
I remember.
So, So
it's a crazy show.
Yes.
Was it 90210 or was it Melrose Place? I think it was Melrose Place where I used to kind of tape it on when he showed it on TV. I think there's a channel called the Pop Network. I don't know if you have that on your cable system.
I think it's like 100 or something.
Yeah, it's like 100. I call that deep cable. And so in deep cable, I was like, I remember a long time ago I saw a commercial. This is like 98, 99, where Brandon people, not these people, whoever, the guy like smashed another guy through a plate glass window. It's like, whoa, it's awesome, action packed. So I did massive amount of research to figure that out. It was like season 8, and I waited and waited and waited, and I watched it. I found it was like a vacation episode, and it was like kind of a tail end of some like robbery thing. It's like, whoa, finally I got to see this part. It took a long time. It took months to even figure. It took like an hour plus to figure that out because I had to watch the commercial for Fox, and then figure out what Simpsons episode they were having the promo on, and I had to do all the promos together. But it was fun. It was a fun project, and it was worth it. It was a great episode.
Yeah,
but it's like,
yeah. That's that's one of the more fascinating things, right? Because I think we talked about this on a previous podcast that you were on. That like when things are taped, especially like. Like remember how when we tape things, we got rid of the commercials, and then now, we're like watching those, like you said, you got to figure out like what episode it was, and now that like the commercials matter and things like that that we're caught on those things matter.
Commercials matter. That's a great point. They really did. Like that was helpful. The commercial.
Right. Yeah. So it's always it's funny how that kind of stuff is, but what one other thing I wanted to say about this, because I've been bringing up the Miami Vice thing. Miami Vice is actually now on Tubi. So
interesting.
I think for people binging TV shows out there, if you haven't binged the Miami Vice, the Miami Vice series, it's only 5 seasons, about 20 episodes a season. So you're talking about a little over 100 episodes. For me, it's one of my favorite series of all time.
Oh, it's a fantastic show. I mean, one thing I'll do a full rewatch. I got the DVD set.
Yeah, me too.
I was going to mention, I don't watch many shows on Tubi. What's on Tubi? The Player. That's the show of Wesley Snipes and Philip Winchester.
Yes, I've seen that on there.
I quit this podcast now and watch 9 episodes. That should be your next program you watch if you can. I would love to talk to someone else about besides Brett. It's only 9. It's only 9 great episodes. So, I think it's supposed to be 13, and I think the show looks like it costs a fortune. So it's like you'll see it when you watch it, but it really delivers the goods. It's like, the Player's there. People can watch the Player. Because I can't believe I'm even saying it's almost 10 years old now. But I remember when it was on 2015, like this is gonna be the best show I've ever seen, and it was. So it's like, if only to make a virtual
is Snipes in it enough? Is Snipes in it enough? Yeah.
It's more of a Phil Winchester joint, but Snipes is in it, and Snipes does get to deliver some of his martial arts, which I won't give away. I think there's an episode called The Norseman, which that's my favorite episode because it's about Snipes. He does something really amazing, and I will not give it away. So I hopefully watch it soon. And I guess we can go to our movies. So what did we watch this time?
Well, so it's interesting. So we'll give people a heads up on the two films that we chose because we are going away from Willis completely this episode, which it's been. He will definitely be back. He's got plenty of back to be back with. He's got tons of.
We got Survive the Game,
material.
and I think one of the Detective Night movies popped up on Tubi.
Recently. White Elephant was on Hulu.
He's coming up.
So
insert one salvage salvation coming. How many times I say that in every episode?
Right, exactly.
I'll wait patiently still.
Exactly. Well, no. So then what happened, right, was at the same time we were trying to figure out if we were going to do more Willis, and we discovered that Operation Seawolf, the new Dolph film, is on Tubi, which was, I want to say this might be the fastest that a Dolph film ended up on Tubi.
That's a great point. It's new. It's like 2022, almost near 2023. So it's like,
and it came out in late 2022. Or later 2020. I don't know. Maybe not late, but later.
So, and then we did. We needed something else, right? So we picked Shadow Wolves. Is that from 2022 also?
Yes, I think so. No, 2019. And
2019.
So with Shadow Wolves, what happened with Shadow Wolves? I think part of it was on some previous episodes of your podcast with Brett, you mentioned that you'd been binging Criminal Minds, and then we were messaging about that, and I was like, what if I just checked IMDb to see if Hotch has any other
anything.
Right, and this movie Shadow Wolves came up, and we're like, well, let's give it a try. It's going to be an interesting discussion for sure.
Yes,
but that's
at least
that's what we paired it with.
We paired it with Operation Seawolf because it's wolves.
Right, exactly. Right. We paired it with Seawolf because they're both wolves, and then also because Dolph is someone who's got very broad shoulders, and he can carry a podcast on his own.
No problem.
So
it's like, I just watched that. I'm watching Hotch. I love Criminal Minds. But what's funny about Dolph, because I rewatched Skin Trade recently, and it's like, oh, that's right. Remember when Dolph Lundgren was on CNN? Talking about Skin Trade, and then you were telling me that he does the movie voice. It's like, dying is easy, being on CNN is hard, and it's just
because CNN, he had a completely different, I don't want to say normal is the right word, but it was a very clean, it was very academic in a way.
It was.
He spoke the way that anybody else would speak. And so then I'm watching something in one of his movies, and then they showed a clip of his movie. That's right, they showed a clip of Street, and it was exactly your impression in the movie clip. The rest of the interview was completely different from your impression. But then he there's a clip from Skin Trade where he's interrogating Ron Perlman. And it was your impression perfectly.
I cracked up. I was like, "You're right," because it's he sounds completely different. So that's his movie voice, I guess, which I'm happy to keep doing. It just, but I guess that's a good segue. Well, also I will say the interview could have been a little bit longer on CNN. But I'm complaining about a 10-plus-year-old clip on CNN. Because I don't know if Richard Quest has a very annoying way of speaking. It might be Dolph, what do you think about this Skin Trade? It's like, okay. And then I felt bad for Dolph. This is not good. It's like, I don't want to talk to Richard Quest.
Richard Quest's approach works in these those little 2-minute bites where he's acting like a goofball on the New Year's Eve thing with Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper. That's where Richard Quest he was dressed up as the Statue of Liberty, I think, for the last one of theirs. And so it's we're throwing it down to Richard Quest. Yes, everybody, I'm here.
I'm here, Richard Quest. Don't look up his personal life to say this podcast will go to E rating.
Right.
Oh my goodness! It's you will go. It's you did something that was okay. Maybe do that in your home.
Yeah. We definitely won't need to do that.
Yeah. But you look it up.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. We do have an explicit rating on this, so we can go. We can go blue if we need to.
That's true. We need to. I guess I'm so used to keeping it as clean as possible. It's parts of my family listen to it, so it's
Yeah. If you want the family listening, then we can keep it clean. Yeah. So
No, I don't care really, but I'm so used to it now. So it's
yeah.
I just dance around
No,
everything.
yeah, I know what you mean. It's funny, like I will swear from time to time on but it's funny when I first did the show, I did it with the co-host
With
you know,
Jamie.
Jamie was my and she would swear, and I remember she thought, because I generally just don't swear, that's just kind of, I just don't usually anyway, unless I'm like if I'm tired I'll start swearing, just because I don't know why that is, but that happens. But she was like, I wasn't sure if you wanted to not swear, and I was like, no, I don't care if we swear, because all you do is you just flip on a button that says that your episode is explicit, and then it's like, okay, you're covered there.
I mean, which I do in our podcast, I say whatever you want, no censorship, but I sneak in some stuff like, I think I was talking about what was it? Dragon. What's that movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Dragon Eyes?
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
And like we're talking about the gangs, and we're talking about the be a girl gang called the Ho Ho Ho's. It's
right,
because they're prostitutes.
Yes.
It's like, so I guess that's like PG-13, I guess, material, but it's but we can jump into Operation Seawolf. My notes.
Operation Seawolf will be pretty G-rated. The only thing is we'll be talking about Nazis, so that's
true,
one thing that can be a little bit of an issue. But beyond that, we'll be G-rated there.
Yeah,
do you want me to do a quick synopsis?
Please, I'm terrible at it.
All right, yeah, and I'll try my best to kind of get everything down. But I think essentially what we got here is we're kind of closing in on the end of the days of World War II, and the Germans have one kind of last-ditch offensive that they want to carry out, and what they want is this expert submarinist who is played by Dolph Lundgren, who fought in the previous war. I think he fought in World War I, and he's been around for a while, knows his way around a submarine. They want him to take this crew out to the coast of to New York City, and I think use like some kind of special bomb to blow it up. At the same time, the Allies, led by Frank Grillo, get word of this plan, and they're trying to intercept it. And so they have a team, an anti-sub team led by, let me pull up the name here, Hiram. It was a Hiram A. Murray.
Hiram A. Murray.
Hiram A. Murray, yeah. And he's trying to intercept it. And so the big thing, of course, for Dolph is, Dolph has had some demons in his past. His family was killed earlier in the war. He doesn't really like the Nazis. He doesn't agree with Nazism. He doesn't do the Nazi salute, all those things. But at the same time, he has pride in his country, and he's got this ragtag group of submarine workers that he wants to kind of take through this mission. And then at the same time, and as this whole collision course to wackiness is happening, again, the war is starting to wind down. So there's sort of a sense of like, what are they even doing this for? So
that's a great point. And that's what makes the movie kind of interesting. Because I thought when he didn't do the Nazi salute, that could have been a twist to the movie, that he hates Nazis. They didn't really do that. I know that's part of the big discussion on this one. It's like, kind of rooting for the Nazis here. But it's
I mean, they tried their best to distance themselves from
they
it.
Did a great job
to mitigate it.
Actually.
Yeah. And I think when you're watching it as a movie fan, I think because this is just a direct-to-video one, I think they do enough of a job for us that we can say, like, okay, I'm not really rooting for Nazis.
Well, that's the thing. That's what makes it so interesting about the movie, because they tamped that down so much, I kind of forgot.
Right. Yes.
Because it's kind of like Das Boot, or I thought, I'm not gonna like this movie. So I thought, I would call it Das Give This the Boot. But it's just, but I guess that was the big surprise of the movie, is that it was actually pretty good. That was, when you said that, like, there's a surprise in the movie. Oh, what is it? Oh, it's good.
That was the thing I didn't want to give away.
I love that. It was a surprise. It actually was good.
Right.
And you were right. Like, I got really hooked into the story.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, I don't want to give it away, but like Dolph, I was saying to you that because I haven't written the review for this yet, but I did get the screen. Okay. So to full disclosure, in my case, I rented this from Comcast was doing their free or their.
Oh, that's right, you rented it. You didn't watch it on the tubes.
Yeah, they did like the $1 rental thing. So I was like, well, I got to get the images before my rental expires.
Right,
and all the images. Pause. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And all the images that I got essentially were Dolph just looking tired and haggard, or even sleeping.
He's always sleeping.
His character is sleeping a lot in this. He's having trouble getting up a lot. He's having trouble standing. It's a good, like, invested performance by him.
He did a great job. I thought one of his better performances in the past couple of years was funny because he's always sleeping. Like, I'm always sleeping. Honk shoe. Honk shoe. That's how he sleeps. That's how I sleep. Honk shoe. But it's like, so it's like but I really enjoyed the movie. And Grillo, well, he didn't do much as Race Ingram. Great, cool name.
Yes.
I don't think they even said his name. I had to look it up on IMDb. And and then Dolph's name is Hans, right? So
Yes. Yeah. Hans Kessler.
Yeah, I'm Hans Kessler. But in the beginning, you see Dolph's like, a little much of Dolph there, because he was nude, basically.
Right. Yes.
Uh-oh. But then he goes to his U-boat. I gotta say, it was pretty good. That's the thing about the notes on this movie. It's because there wasn't much to write because I was kind of hooked in.
Yeah.
I like the beginning. Go ahead, please.
No, I was gonna say, like, it's so I'm just looking at his IMDb bio, and it's like, obviously he puts in a really great performance in Creed 2. I mean, this might be his best performance since since Creed 2 in 2018.
I haven't seen it yet because I saw there was a deleted fight scene on YouTube. They didn't put in the movie. So I'm gonna get you, Sly. And it's just like, that Stone's maybe we'll do this again. And then they had a behind the scenes of it, and it's like it would have been kind of cool, but then they got rid of it because Creed 2. These Creed movies are like dramas, right? So I know there's a Creed 3 that just came out pretty recently, like maybe today or yesterday.
Yes, it's out now, I think. Yeah.
And there's no Dolph. I know there was that like semi rift between Dolph and Sly, or something like that. Did you read about that a couple months ago?
I don't know about so that one I didn't read about, but I know that there's a rift between Sly and the producers that own the rights to the film.
Yeah,
and so
he doesn't
essentially,
like them.
Yeah, they took him out and they gave the whole thing to Michael B. Jordan, and it's like his whole thing.
Yes. I'm waiting for his steakhouse. It's going to be very confusing between Michael Jordan's steakhouse and Michael B. Jordan's steakhouse at the casino. It's going to be. I'm waiting patiently.
Yeah, it's funny with names like that. Like that one's like Michael Jordan is like maybe like one of the biggest ones. And I who knows like the reason why he was named Michael Jordan. Like if his mom I mean he's old enough that there was no Michael Jordan basketball player when he was born. I think he's that old.
Okay, oh really? Michael B. Jordan's secretly old. Okay,
well, I think so.
Old people.
Let me take a look. Let's see. I thought he was old enough, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's like who's secretly old? Oh, it's Topher Grace. Is that his name? And then Jesse Bradford and Vera Farmiga. She's secretly old, and Jessica Chastain. She's secretly old. So it's like because I think she hides her age on IMDb. Yes. Chastain. It's like whoa. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then what's the other guy too? Like why can't I think of his name? The one who's in Harold and Kumar.
Cal Penn or
the other one. Yeah,
Harold.
yeah.
Oh, John Cho. He hides his age.
I think he was born in like 1970 or something like that, or like the late 60s.
1965 he was born. It's like
Ming Na is another one. I think she was born in like 62.
Oh yeah, and Michelle Yeoh. They're all old. They're old.
Yeah,
it's like.
But Michael B. Jordan actually isn't that old. He was born in 87, but I think being born in 87, unless he's born in California. I mean, I don't think his parents would have named him after Michael Jordan, the basketball player, because he would have just been starting to be big at that time.
That's true. Well, maybe he can make Space Jam 3. I know Space Jam 2 was just released a year or two ago.
Yeah,
I saw about 2 seconds of it. And when I was flipping the channels, and Don Cheadle was like being half evil or something. It's like, that sounds interesting. But it's like, I don't want. I'm 30 plus years old. I'm not watching Space Jam 2. It's like I have to be really. I think that was also during. Well, no, I think the lockdowns were over. I hate to say that word, but it's like I still didn't want to watch it because I'm old. It's like, but I hear the Droogs from Clockwork Orange are in the background of basketball scenes.
Oh, really?
It's like what? Who's next? Caligula? It's like what's going on here? It's like it's ridiculous. It's outrageous. It's like
yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Good old Malcolm McDowell. He could do. He's done his share of like stuff that isn't kids' movies.
It's funny. Yeah, I found Caligula on VHS. Uncovered at Goodwill of all places.
Yes. That is amazing. I had it on DVD.
Oh, you did? Okay. I never watched. I always wanted to watch it. Just like, I don't know. I just watched a Caligula movie a couple months ago. Caligula: The Untold Story, and it's like, like all right. It's like, it's like, okay, it's full of debauchery. It was nonstop. Like,
Yeah, yeah, because it was what's the guy's name? Guccione, the guy who did Penthouse.
Yeah. And then I watched the Italian ripoff version. So Caligula Untold Story. So I have another one called like Caligula and Messina or something like that. But I it's like, no, I'm clicking it out right now. I have to go. And that was months ago I watched it, but
yeah,
we have to go back down to
Seawolf.
Caligula.
Seawolf.
Well,
Dolph would make it.
Oh,
go ahead.
Make Caligula? Like,
He'd make a great like Roman emperor, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, he was in that movie, right? The Final Inquiry. That was like a Roman kind of thing, or more of a Christian thing, right?
Yeah, because it had Max von Sydow as Tiberius, the Emperor Tiberius. Dolph was playing like some
like
Celtic
Brixos or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, he was like some kind of Germanic like guy who'd been captured by the Romans.
Right? Did he like pick up like a huge boulder, or he picked up a house or something? It was very silly.
Yeah,
but it's like
the movie was. It's a guy Sean Malloy who does the I Must Break This podcast. He was like, I can't find anybody else to do Final Inquiry, and I'm like, well, I'll talk about any Dolph anytime. So sure, I'll do Final Inquiry.
Okay. Well, I got to be on this podcast. I got to do an impression for Sean Malloy's.
I know you need. Yes, yeah. He needs to have you doing that impression. Because it's a.
I'm just happy to do it because I got to tell you, I'll try to do all my impressions. It's kind of taking over my other impressions. Right. It's like, I'm not kidding. It's like it's always Dolph all the time. It's like I'm losing my Liam Neeson. I'm losing my Neeson. I'm losing my. So it's like, oh no.
But learning that he does an impression of himself when he does his movies is just amazing. That like he, yeah, and I mean it's funny because like even in this movie, he I guess he just wanted to make himself seem as haggard as possible or something, but he's doing the voice that he always does. Yeah, he's just it really is. I think the movie itself. I think from a story standpoint. Yeah, I mean, sub movies can easily turn into sub slogs, and I think an hour and 27 minutes, even at an hour and 27 minutes, I think you and I we've both seen these movies turn into slogs with that kind of a runtime.
But this one didn't. I couldn't believe it. Like, wait, I'm hooked into the sub slog movie. What? Wow, 2023. What a year. What's next? The African slog movie's gonna be good. Maybe a airplane slog. It's like, so we'll see.
Prison slog.
The prison slog. That's the best prison movie slog. I guess it would be a Death Warrant or Hard Justice. So it's like,
Avengement did a good job, but see, Avengement had enough outside the prison.
Yeah,
they did a good job of like mixing in the prison, outside the prison to make it less of a slog.
Yeah, that's true. I like Avengement. Wait, we did Scott Adkins. Oh no, did Adkins die with another guest? Of course, now it's
was it Rich? Was it Rich?
I think it was Hawes. Yeah, it was Hawes. Yeah, so he had the Atkins diet. So it's like maybe the Atkins diet too. Lose weight or something like that. I don't know.
Right, exactly.
Like, I don't know.
He's playing an overweight guy in John Wick 4, so that would actually be perfect.
I thought that was an April Fool's joke, and I actually saw the clip. It's like, oh, of course, it was also March, by the way. But like, is he gonna fight Keanu? I'm not sure anymore. Or is he just gonna be a sit-down role for Scott?
That's a good question. I think he must fight him. I think he's got to fight him even in the suit. But if it's a sit-down role. Yeah, I mean, what do you like? If that ends up being a sit-down role, is that hilarious because it's like you wouldn't have expected it, or is it such a disappointment that it's like,
it's a disappointment because I want to see Scott Adkins and Keanu Reeves at least have a fight scene. I guess there's going to be a big fight scene of him and Donnie Yen.
Oh, okay.
So that's good. I'll take that for sure. So I'm really looking forward to that. So of course, the movie's 3 hours long. John Wick 4.
Jeez. Okay.
I know. That's
they're getting to that level.
Oh my goodness. So we'll see. I guess I have to see the Johnny Yen, John Wick, or Keanu fight. Whoa.
Yeah.
Fighting Donnie Yen. It's like
I was going to see it in the theater, but now I'm like, man, I don't know if I can.
I know that is
3 hours.
Real kick.
When my buddy and I saw Lawrence of Arabia in the theater, there was an intermission.
Nice.
And
Good movie,
3-hour movies should have intermissions, whether it's whatever they are, comic book movies, John Wick, they should have an intermission.
I think I know why they don't do it anymore, because people don't want to go back to their seats because it's not like It's like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to leave. But I think was there an intermission? Did you see Grindhouse in the theater? I don't think there was an intermission. I think you just sat there for 3
No.
hours.
So
I'm not mistaken.
I didn't see that one. The local movie theater did like a double feature of Kill Bill, and
Oh,
so
interesting.
that one, it was like kind of all as one movie, and that one had an intermission in between the two
Oh, see,
volumes.
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
People should stretch their legs because if you stand up in the theater, say, sit down. It's
Yeah.
like it's over.
Yeah.
Don't get booed and get popcorn thrown at you. I assume.
yeah.
I haven't been to
I
the
mean,
theater now in a while.
when people take 3-hour drives, a lot of times they get out at some point and stretch their legs. Like
Yeah.
that's why we have rest areas on the highway. It's like,
Great
and they're
point.
there's usually positioned every like 50 to 100. I mean, I guess we're talking about the Northeast where things are a little bit more
Yeah.
built up, so it's maybe hard
There's
to know if
no
you're
John Wick
Yeah.
rest area. It's just like
right.
if you watched all 4 now, wow, it'd take like all day. I mean, like
Yeah.
because the first
Well,
one was
'cause
short, and
Yeah,
the second
the
one was getting a little
first one-
longer.
Yeah.
And the third one was
that's
getting a little longer. Now we have 3 hours. I think
right,
I think it
exactly.
would take about 6 hours plus now to finish the complete series. Hopefully this will be the last one, which I'm happy to watch another one. But
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
okay. We're getting a little nuts here.
Yeah, you can tell. So the thing with the John Wicks is that when they brought Common in for the second one,
Mm.
Common is like one of those guys. I mean, obviously he was a rapper before, but he's one of those ones that like, there's a certain type of movie, like a certain like level of like, like what was it? Was it Date Night that used him?
I
Like
think he was
like
in
those
that, and I
kind
was in Smoking Aces. So,
right, exactly. Like that kind of like I guess like what do I want to say like mainstream. It's a very mainstream move to bring Common into your series, and
what's his
it
real
took.
name? So,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
don't even know. That's a good question. Yeah, I don't, I don't know what his
Maybe his last name is Ground. So is that
right. Right.
Well, go ahead. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, but you know what I mean? Like it felt like the second one, like the first one was not a mainstream action movie. It was something like almost like it was almost like an independent film
Well,
that was
that's I
action.
heard it was going to go straight to video. John
Yeah.
Wick. That was back in 2014 or something.
I think
And there's-
so. Yeah.
And I think I heard Lionsgate was going to send straight to video. It's like, because Keanu was going straight to video for a little bit. And it's like, and then I guess I actually watched the movie. It's like, oh, it's pretty good. I put it in the theater. And it's like,
Yeah.
so it's like,
Yeah.
it's like you actually watched it, huh?
Yeah. And I think you could see the 3-hour sequel coming when they brought
Yeah, I
Common in
know.
for the second
Yeah.
one, because they're like, okay, we've got to go mainstream. When they go, for some reason, I don't understand what this trend is with movies having to be longer. But
Yes.
it's like all of them are. It's like the new Batman was 3 hours. It's like
That took forever to
whatever.
watch, too.
Yeah,
I'm still
yeah,
watching
these
The
Marvel
Irishman.
movies sometimes.
I watched it
Yeah,
3 years ago.
exactly.
I'm still watching it. I don't know how I'm still watching it, but I watch it. It's like the Star Wars minute, the Irishman minute. I'm still watching it.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I don't know. Did you watch the Irishman, or I'm just?
I did I think I did it over like 3 or 4 nights. I did.
Yeah, I watched it in one sitting, but it felt like it took 5 days. Because the problem with the
Yeah.
Irishman, I should talk about Operation Seawolf, but it's just like this is well-worn material. I was like, why am I
Right.
watching this? I could just watch Hoffa or Goodfellas
Right.
or Casino. And if that guy, I don't like his name, but Action Bronson outacts De Niro in it, you have a problem.
Right.
Like, he actually outacted De Niro. It's like,
right.
and I was thinking about that. He must have thought, okay, this is my one shot,
Yeah.
Mr. Bronson, to actually be a good actor. I'm in a
Mhm.
Scorsese movie. I better be the best
Yeah.
ever. And he actually outacted De Niro. I was like, wow. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, do you want this coffin or not, or something like that? It was just like he actually stole the movie from De Niro. I don't know. The Irishman's boring. Just like
Yeah.
it's not good. He had that weird de-aging technology. But
Yes.
but we'll go back to Operation Seawolf. You can't de-age Dolph, and Grillo. Grillo sit down role for old Grillo.
Yes.
Really,
Yeah. Well, so
We talked about
interesting. Yeah. Well, yeah. If we're segueing back because I was going to say
Yeah.
about the Irishman.
go ahead, please.
No, like the anti-aging. The Irishman felt like a band doing a reunion show. It's like like the Who is coming back to do,
Yeah, that's a
something
great
like
point.
that.
Here
And-
comes the Who. Here comes Kiss.
Yeah, and some of these other people you were talking about, like Bronson, it's like they're coming into like maybe like I don't know how to say it, like they're like some like session musician who's like performing. And he's like, yeah, this is my big shot
This is
at
my
it,
big shot. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
some
you're
fat
right.
guy eats a bunch of deli food. Action Bronson, I guess. I don't really. I guess why do I have? Why I don't have a grudge against that guy is because that's not his name, and
Right.
he's probably stealing from Charlie Bronson. He's stealing my name. It's just like, it's like I don't know. It's, to me, I guess I'm not a fan. It's just like, but all right, go back. I'll stop bashing him. But
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's a fascinating thing, right? Like, he did that movie.
who
What
did
was
that
the movie? He did the one with what's his face? Gary Daniels, the gardener, and
Oh,
that,
Bronson's in The Gardener. He's with
what? Yeah, yeah. What is that? Yeah, Bronzy or what? Yeah, it's
Bronzy. You're talking about Bronzy now.
I'm talking about Bronzy. Maybe I'm confusing my
Oh,
Bronzys and my
no. Okay.
Bronsons.
Okay. So there's that fat guy who's on Vice. The Vice. His name's Action Bronson, like some rapper guy. He's like a white rapper guy.
Oh, right.
He's in
Okay.
The
Yes,
Irishman. And he
that's
outacts De
right.
Niro. Bronzy, I love him to be in other movies. I liked The Gardener of Gary Daniels. Still waiting to see that, by the way. Maybe it's on Tubi. I haven't really checked. Oh, we're mentioning
Yes,
it
the
for
gardener
Bronson. And
is not.
yeah,
Okay, Action Bronson. That's who you're.
yeah,
Okay,
that's
I
what I'm
got
making
you.
fun of. No,
Yeah.
I can't make fun of Charles Bronzy. That's illegal in these podcasting parts. He's great. So it's like, I love. I haven't checked in on The Gardener though. Did you watch it?
It's not only is it still only available to rent as far as I can tell,
Outrageous. Mhm.
but it's $5.99 rental fee still.
Nope. It's got to be
Yeah,
free.
you
It's been out for a
this
few
is
years now. At least a year or
right.
two.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's been at least since 2021, and it's
2 years
what
now.
right,
Give us our
and
Bronzy.
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that this movie would be, you know, it doesn't make any sense that they would make it as a rental for so long. So now it looks like it's down to $3.99 on Prime to rent.
Not good enough.
But
It has to be zero. It's like
yeah, and when I go to the IMDb page, it has 8 critic reviews, which to that tells you like a
low.
movie like that should have so many more critic reviews. But if
Maybe
you keep it
20.
only as a rental, then
Yeah, that's a good
nobody's
point.
going to watch it and review it.
Great point. That's a great point.
Yeah,
Why know why it's stuck on rental? Hopefully it doesn't happen
no
to our
idea.
salvage salvation.
I know.
But it's, if I keep saying I'm going to get jinxed. Why do I think that's going to be
No,
some sort of great movie? I think it's just going to be stupid because De Niro
yeah.
has a southern accent or something like that. And it's like, okay, this is going to
Mhm.
be funny. Oh, De Niro, yeah. Oh, wait, we got to go back to Grillo. So Grillo is a sit-down role. I don't know, what'd you think?
Grillo's a fascinating one because, like you said, it's a sit-down role. He's front and center on the tin, which is interesting because it should have been Dolph because this is Dolph's movie. Dolph has the biggest performance. But the other thing with Grillo, right, is that Grillo is playing an Army guy or a Navy guy, I guess, in the 40s and during World War II with a beard, with like 5 o'clock shadow beard,
And then
which
that weird, that no, I won't say weird haircut. It's a pretty cool haircut, but that doesn't seem like it's part of Army haircuts. It's like,
no, and there wasn't really any barbers doing that kind of hairstyle back in the 40s.
No, exactly. So it's like I kind of laughed. And he was wearing glasses too. Yeah. Grillo glasses, I call them.
Yeah.
He did a good job. I just wish he
Another
did
guy
more.
who's secretly old.
Oh, yeah, Grillo's like
also another guy
he's 78. It's just like
right, exactly.
well, he just started. He's been around for a little while. He's been around for a long time. Kind of like who's that other character actor? I can't remember his name right now. Let me look that up. But I just saw him in Steel. Oh, John Hawkes. You might just remember.
Oh,
that.
yes.
Look that up. He's been around forever. It's like Grillo is taking John Hawkes' roles now, or vice versa. But yeah, Grillo, I wish he did more. I wish he was maybe in the submarine, or maybe he shot a couple people. He was just sitting there reading some papers.
Yeah. I mean, reading some papers. Then he had like that crayon pencil kind of thing that he's marking the map up with every once in a while.
Because it's like my best friend Hans. It's like, so your best friends with Dolph Lundgren. Well, that was in the beginning of the old timey photos. I would love to have that. It's like okay, I have an old timey fake photo of Dolph Lundgren and Frank Grillo like palling around. See, that would be funny. And they said the title almost immediately too. It's like Operation Seawolf's in play. It's like and I always like that. I don't think Dolph said the title though. I don't think it's not Operation Seawolf. I wish he did say that. It'd be great. But I know why he was tired though, because he was thinking about his Richard Quest interview. 10 years ago, like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going to sleep. It's like, but yeah, go right ahead. I see we haven't really talked much about this movie, but
it's funny. It's funny how that happens because this movie's a good one.
Yeah, it's good. That's the thing.
You feel like there should be a lot of good. I think the biggest thing. I think the sub thing. They do a great job with the sub thing. I think because they create a few different angles. So like with the sub situation, first off, it takes a little while before the sub gets going, but then also there's the intrigue between Dolph and the crew that he's taking over, right? Because they had their own commander, and it's essentially like Star Trek One, right? Where where Kirk takes over the Enterprise, and for whatever reason, that means the other guy has to get demoted to like a lower, whatever, and so that happens here, right? And so that crew is like resentful of him, and they because Dolph's character is sleeping a lot, they like kind of do some intrigue while he's sleeping, then he has to come back and take back over control of his sub. So we get that little bit there.
But it was still enjoyable.
Yeah, that stuff all worked. I think there's the stuff with Hiram A. Murray's crew, which is the idea is supposed to be this is an all black crew that never really gets the chance to go out and really go on the missions, right? That they're not given that opportunity. That didn't get enough play, I think, for me. I think that could have been a little bit more to get a little more development with them. But I think on the other hand, it's like once you get Dolph going in this and you're getting the kind of performance from Dolph, the most that we can get out of Dolph from that, I think the better.
I can't agree more. I mean, I was really surprised by his like actual interest in this movie. I thought he was going to be phoning it in. I was all prepared for it. Like, but he must have thought, like, you know what? There's something to this. I don't think he plays many submarine. Well, actually, Agent Red, I guess he was in a submarine.
Right.
Let's forget about Agent Red. But it's like,
don't wait for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gonna be able to do this? Hell if I know. Let's go into our Stormcatcher footage. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess he plays Holloway now, or Calloway. It's like he does. I thought he was Calloway in the last movie.
Right, exactly.
Or is it Holloway? Actually, I think it's Holloway.
Holloway. Yeah.
Why
Holloway,
do I
right.
remember?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why do we remember these things?
Because he was fighting a guy with a futon in that movie, so that's why it's.
Like I'd steal that footage. I'd steal that footage today. It's like.
No, I mean that's the interesting thing too when we're talking about Dolph here is that there are so many like fun like kind of these like thinking about his 2000s like his late 2000s stuff, right, where he was doing like Command Performance, The Defender. I guess that was more mid 2000s, The Defender, but he was doing these movies that were kind of fun and goofy kind of actioners that like had a good amount of action in them, but he was also playing up who he was as this character. So he's trying to do kind of all that kind of stuff, and it's hard to say. I don't mind him falling into these character roles. It's interesting. As long as he keeps working. I think he has a new movie out now or coming out soon. It's Luke Wilson. I don't have no Luke Wilson impression. I'm like Owen, but it's just like I don't forget the title. It's like a Perfect Man or something like that. I think it's an action movie. So I thought that was a movie of Hilary Duff or something. It's like it has Heather Locklear. Why do I even remember that? But I remember that was coming out and I went to the theater. Hilary Duff, she used to do action movies. I just watched some Haley Duff movies. I watched Legacy and I watched Hacker on Tubi. You mentioned that one.
Yeah, I called her Ms. Robot, but she's not really like that at all. I just wish she was. But she wears a hoodie, which means she's a hacker. So that's the best part. She wears like a Canadian hoodie, and I think, what was that last week I watched that? I had just nothing to do. I was like, well, what's on Tubi? It's like,
let's make
Hacker?
it happen.
And I watched another one called Best Friend, also on Tubi, which was interesting. It's a weird, like, kind of very, very low budget Fatal Attraction. And it tried a lot. And it's too long. The Best Friend movie, it's a Tubi original movie. And it's just too long. And an Immortal City Records, I think I told you that already, right? And it's another Tubi original. It's like an urban Lifetime movie. It's like Empire. Look at the cover. Yeah. Well, look it up. But it's wait, is that Empire? Did you ever watch Empire, the show?
With Terrence
Howard and
Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
I never watched it. I remember my wife and I were watching. We would watch the Fox Morning Show here locally here in Philadelphia, and they would always talk about the episode from the night before. So that's how I knew about it.
Okay, here's the thing. I think I only watched the first season because I think it wasn't supposed to be an ongoing series.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wait, this is a massive hit. Let's keep this going forever.
Yeah.
And then it fell off because in season 2, you should watch season 2 because the hubris of this show, because they had all these big guest stars in season 2. They had Oprah, and they have Chris Rock as a cannibal. It's like, I'm not kidding. Because they really dance around that, by the way. It's like, I can't do Chris Rock impression. I hate people, but maybe I don't. It's like, it's like, oh right, you're a cannibal. What the hell is this? And then I jump ship. And then Demi Moore's hanging around. Yeah, she falls off some steps. I don't know. I don't remember much. But it's like, I think I'm wrong about that. But it's like, now I'm making it up. But it's all very silly. Okay, so Opportunity, I guess I would recommend the movie.
I think this for people out there, for Dolph fans, first off, Tubi here in the US, so you got it for a free stream. I think this is Dolph. It's a new kind of Dolph, right? Like he's older, he's playing a more mature character. It's not a huge actioner, right? Like it's more of a drama.
Really, no. Yeah, it's like drama, sub-drama.
But it works, and it shouldn't work, right? Everything about this movie shouldn't work, and it works. So I think, especially if you're a Dolph fan, you really should go check this one out.
I think I would totally agree. Like, this is a different kind of Dolph. He puts in a pretty good performance, maybe one of his best. Because I was like, I couldn't believe it. It's like, I was like pleasantly surprised. And I guess before we talked about the other movie, which is Shadow Wolves, we do have like kind of almost like intermission ourselves, right? Because
a bit of a segue, because you and I were so on a previous episode of your podcast with Brett, you talked about the idea of like, because of you're watching Criminal Minds, you're binging Criminal Minds, the idea of like the unsubs that they talk about on that show, and that like doing a tie-in with like Subway or Jersey Mike's or something like that.
Yeah, that's what Danny DeVito shills for, Jersey Mike subs. Buy a Jersey Mike subs. I'm insane. It's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. We started kind of riffing back and forth on the idea of Criminal Minds and CBS actually opening a sub shop in Times Square in New York for tourists that sells Criminal Minds themed subs.
Well, you have some examples. Did you write down your examples? I have some written down here now.
Well, so the Goobler one, I'm trying to remember the Goobler.
Well, it's the Goobler Gobbler. The Goobler Gobbler is like a turkey sandwich. And then the Rossi is an Italian sub because it's played by Joe Mantegna. And then we have the Hotch, which is a kick of spicy mayo because Hotch in real life kicked the producer on Criminal Minds and got fired. And now he's in Shadow Wolves, which will. And then the Garcia is like a spicy. It's like another like kind of Spanishy sandwich, white bread, of course. And it's like
Yeah, I mean, you could get all of these here, and then of course, you maybe get like the autographed pictures from people like Goobler or
Goobler
Montagna,
and of course Paget Brewster, and of course AJ Cook would make all the sandwiches. It's like it's right there. So I think it's right. That's her name. Her name makes the sandwiches, cooks. It's like So I guess I would try the Goobler Gobbler. I mean, it's like. Which one would you want to try of their sandwiches? I don't know.
Yeah, I think the Goobler Gobbler too. I do like the Montagna. I'm always a fan of a good Italian hoagie, as they saw. Because of course it has to be a sub now. A good Italian for me, so I would have to try the Rossi as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's not forget about the Shamar more lettuce sandwich, which I just made up just now because I forgot to tell you that yesterday. But it's like, oh wait, Shamar more lettuce. So there's a lot more lettuce in that one, and then. I don't know anybody else in Criminal Minds is, but that's good enough. Oh yeah, Paget Brewster. She would make a special appearance, cut the rope in Times Square. And then I did watch that new Criminal Minds on Paramount Plus. I don't know if you watched it yet. It's kind of its own thing.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that. No,
Criminal Minds Evolution.
Yeah, I should. So with the original Criminal Minds, I would always watch the show when I was visiting other people who were watching it. It was a really weird phenomenon. Like I had a friend in Boston. I was visiting her and her boyfriend down there for just for a weekend or whatever. And she's like, "Yeah, I watch Criminal Minds every Saturday." And she turned it on. Or like visiting home, my mom would watch Criminal Minds, or whoever.
I like that he said that's every Saturday. I like that idea of it.
Yeah, Criminal Minds. I think it was that one and the one with Anthony LaPaglia.
Without a Trace.
Without a Trace, exactly.
Yeah, I've seen all those too. The problem is there's like disappearing special effect every single time and Without a Trace, and it's like shh, and then it just goes away. Oh, you're Without a Trace now. They kind of do the same effect in Cold Case too.
That's right, Cold Case. That's right. Yeah, because yeah, what did they? Oh no, because that's right. They moved Criminal Minds on a different night, and they would have Case and Without a Trace on the same night as Amazing Race. So when you would watch
Wow.
NFL games on Sunday, they'd be like Case, Trace, Race.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what they.
Or Die, Do, and Don, right? It was that's something we mentioned a bunch of months ago.
Right, exactly.
I think. Right. What was Die? I forget now. But Diagnosis Murder. So Diagnosis Murder, Due South, and then Dawn, which would be Nash Bridges.
Yeah.
They never made the new show, I guess. I enjoyed the Nash Bridges TV movie they made about a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah, I wonder if if it didn't. You just never know with those things, like why something takes and something doesn't. I guess.
Yeah, because Don Johnson's like, well, here comes the new Nash Bridges. It's like, sure, I'd watch it. I guess.
Yeah.
If I could hear the ship noise, every single time. Including the movie, like this, I just fired it up and like here we go again.
Right.
It's like, yes, you work on a ship or whatever it is. I don't know. The show fell off so much, and you can find some funny stuff about Don Johnson making that. It's like I don't like being in the show anymore. Ugh. It's like I think Matthew Lillard was on as an early role. It's like it's you can find his quote online. It's really funny. It's like, yeah, I talked to Don Johnson. He's like, I don't want to be in this. So what am I doing with my life? Poor Don. Die doing Don.
Yeah, it's because it was the show that was like it was kind of like set up initially to be like this kind of like this offbeat kind of wacky thing. Like I remember the first episode where like they're eating elk because somebody he knew shot an elk or something, and he had all this elk meat, and he's like feeding people while they're investigating a crime, and it's supposed to be like this wacky offbeat thing. But it never knew what to do with that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like it just. Yeah, I think like you said, it probably didn't have a great identity. It was just, but it kind of hung on because it was on Friday nights, I think, right?
And then there was martial law right near that.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Which I thought was a better program.
Yeah,
I'm looking up the title for our podcast. I accidentally erased it. It was a Dolph and Hotch unsub with Grillo cheese.
With Grillo cheese.
That's the title.
Yeah. And I mean, so, we get into Shadow Wolves here.
Sure.
Maybe I'll do like a quick synopsis here to cover that one.
I forgot what happened.
Yeah, it's very forgettable. But essentially what you've got is this rogue NSA, or there's this like Native American trackers group called the Shadow Wolves that work on the border, and like they're commissioned by Hotch. Hotch Thomas Gibson plays like some kind of like higher up in the military who is a colonel who is paying
Colonel Hotch.
Colonel Hotch, exactly.
Colonel Hotch.
The group is led by Graham Greene, who is pushing 70 at this point when he's playing out there with these other people, like in their desert camo and baseball caps and guns and stuff. Yeah. And then it's the storyline is very mid 2010s with the idea that like ISIS wants to drop a dirty bomb and they want to use Mexican cartels to smuggle them through. At the same time, I guess the ISIS guy who's coming to America to do this stuff is coming from England. So now we also have MI6 involved. Kind of not.
Yeah, and she gets yelled at by Colonel Hotch, and then it's like because the trick is that Hotch now has a mustache in this movie. So like, and it was out your screenshot.
Yeah, I'll have to get it. I've got it. It's just going to probably be all Hotch mustache for the screenshots.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I might have to do. I might have to do. Now, the other thing I didn't realize is they send. Hotch sends this rogue NSA agent down to help the Shadow Wolves. I kept calling him a poor man Scott Walker. I didn't realize he's Cody Walker. He's Scott Walker's brother. So
you were right then.
Yeah, so it's kind of like he's essentially become He's in that like Joey Travolta, Frank Stallone. He's like in a long list of brothers, right? That
Joe Estevez,
Joe Estevez, right? Don Swayze. I guess I don't want to count Kevin Dillon in that group. I think he's his own thing from Matt Dillon.
He's his own man.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you cannot make fun of giant drama.
Yeah, but this is we are definitely in that. I mean, he's essentially a Don Swayze for the 21st century, I guess, or for the 2020s.
Or the Gretzky. Remember the Gretzkys from American Siege?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's what we've got here. And so again, it's just sort of plays out exactly the way this kind of movie should play out, with a conspiracy bench where Hotch is telling Walker about what's happening on a bench in what's supposed to be DC but is not DC. What I had touch base with you to get the definite term that you and Brett used, the prerequisite torture scene.
Yeah, prerequisite torture, yeah.
Right. We have that in this. We've got some strange like apparition that the guy sees, like Cody, the poor man Scott Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sees like some weird like apparition, and it's like the best way I was able to describe it was Scott. Is it Steve Kamen from Total Force, who directed Total Force? Yep. It looked like something out of that movie. And then Graham Greene's character dies in like the most like insipid, like drippy, dramatic thing that's just so just like over the top and painful. Yeah, I mean, and maybe that's the best way to describe this movie is painful.
It's kind of painful because in the beginning, did you notice that really bad green screen background?
Yes.
It's like, what the heck was that? I mean, it looked like garbage. I mean, like that's like was sub maybe the Asylum. It's like, what's that? I know they probably spent all their money on Hotch. It's like, we have a couple $1,000,000. Here's $2 million for Hotch.
Yeah.
And then and here's your direction, Hotch. Act like Hotch. So it's like,
because that was the most amazing things. He's got a mustache, right? He's got a mustache. His haircut's a little bit a Hotch stash, exactly. But he sounds exactly like Hotch when he's delivering his lines.
Yep. I think that's all he can do now. Yeah. It's like, I think he's stuck being Hotch because, when he shouldn't have kicked that producer. It'd still be on Criminal Minds today. It's an interesting story. It's like, I guess he was filming at night. I'm mad. I'm going to kick a producer of Criminal Minds. And like, they got fired the next day. It's a weird story. I mean, like, because the problem with Thomas Gibson, it's like, that's it. It's like, I'm Hotch. Here's your directions. It's just, there's nothing. I think he just kind of lucked out of Dharma and Greg and Hotch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, well, and of course, remember he did Men of War with Dolph back in the mid-'90s.
That's a really good connection. That's actually a really good connection because, Dolph and Thomas Gibson are. That's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was a good movie. I think I liked it. I think there's an uncut version of Men of War in like Germany or England or something. And it's like
interesting.
It's like I think our version in America is kind of cut down a bit for some of the violence. I think when they killed Trevor Goddard, spoiler, that was a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I just totally killed Trevor Goddard. But it's like, Thomas Gibson, I didn't kill him, though. And see, if he killed Hotch, that'd be interesting. Because, in that movie, isn't he like sitting on a boat, Hotch? It's like, Dolph Lundgren, you do your job. I don't know, I'm Hotch. It's like
right, because the whole deal is that he and some other guy, they're like trying to take over this island from the natives. And you get a few interesting connections there, right? Because you got B.D. Wong from Law and Order Special Victims Unit and Catherine Bell from JAG in that one.
See, I know it's all very interesting. JAG. I tried to watch JAG. It's like, I'm going to watch JAG. Oh, it's not very good.
It's a hard one, isn't it? That's and I guess NCIS was a spin-off of JAG, which ended up being much more successful.
Still on now, just like Criminal. It's technically still on. Just like Blue Bloods and Grey's Anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
it's amazing.
Still on.
Oh, Kevin Teague. I forgot Kevin Teague from Roadhouse is in Men of War as well. Yeah,
it's a good cast. I mean, I don't. Do I have a copy? I think I do. I'm kind of looking around for the uncut version. So.
Yeah, I've got it on DVD as well, but it's interesting because it is for people out there that want to check that one out. It's on Crackle and Plex. Crackle seems to be a bit heavy on the commercials, I think.
I can't even watch them on Crackle. I mean, unless they fixed the app recently. Yeah, I couldn't watch a thing. I tried to watch the Net TV show.
Yeah,
and it was unwatchable. Like, so I couldn't watch it. So I stick to Tubi.
Yeah. I don't.
Find your next rabbit hole. That's what I always see when I type on Tubi. Yeah, I guess I'm a walking ad for it, but I just see it every time. There's that music too, like. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. But I heard it like 5 times the other day. So. But Shadow Wolves. It's not very good.
Well,
okay. Go ahead.
Well, because it's. I mean, the plot for it is so. I mean, I don't know if they started making the movie. I mean, I didn't check the trivia on IMDb, but I mean, the story itself is old, right? I mean, this is like
it's pretty
it's
cliched paint by numbers. Maybe it was like written like 2011 or 2012. It's like, here's a
yeah,
script we can make, and we have Hotch. All right, it's not,
yeah, yeah. It's I guess there is a real group that are the Shadow Wolves that I guess they work as part of ICE. And
oh,
they
okay.
use I
Isn't it
guess
like the
like
Minutemen or something like that?
yeah, and they say that they work in drug recovery, search and
Uh,
rescue. I think that was one of the things about this movie too is they tried to paint it as like the only people crossing the border are, you know, human trafficking and drugs. When yeah, obviously there are people that are also trying to come to America for asylum, things like that. So they kind of just it had that kind of energy to it, but energy from like 6 or 7 years ago. It was like
exactly. There's just nothing. Exactly at the great point because I think it just came out 7, 8 years ago. I think we would like it more. There's
yeah,
just
or
something about it being kind of stale.
yeah,
And
I mean the dirty bomb thing, right? It's like that was
again,
like all over the news in the mid 2010s.
exactly. And like a cool, oh, whoa, no, a dirty bomb in America.
Right,
Like that.
exactly.
And there's that movie, actually, a good movie on HBO called Dirty War. I don't
Mhm.
know if you've ever seen that. It's a HBO,
No.
British HBO movie. Pretty good, actually. I'd check it out. But it's not nothing like that. This movie's pretty garbagey.
Yeah.
And it's like this is on the kind of the bottom rung of Tubi.
Yeah.
Because what I call the dregs of Tubi.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, we could do another offshoot podcast about Tubi movies. I mean, it's time for Totally Tubi. It's like
Totally Tubi.
it's
Yeah,
totally Tubi.
that would be an interesting one because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, we've talked about some of the stuff that's on. I mean, there's a series of movies that has hoops from Flavor of Love on it as a
Which ones
star.
are those? 'Cause I'm very interested. I think you mentioned this before, but I don't remember the titles.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I'll have to take a look and see.
I'll look up hoops. I mean, like,
Yeah,
because there's Flavor of Love, there's hoop. There's I was gonna call it Hoops of Love. No, A Real Chance of Love.
yeah,
Um,
with Bay Bay Bay.
I mean, I love Bay Bay. Yes, you know my Bay Bay Bay. I must be
So I
talking
knew
about
Bay Bay Bay. I think I'd
Yeah.
seen a couple episodes of that one. Real Chance of Love.
I love that Bay Bay because it's just too many bays, as you say. So
Yes.
it's like
Yeah.
it should be Bay Bay, not Bay Bay Bay, because it takes forever to say, which rhymes. And it's
Yeah.
like so, and then of course all I remember is like I don't want to go and chance this pool. I'll hurt my weave. It's like no. It's like I wasn't supposed to go in here. It's like I felt bad for Bay Bay Bay, and it's like it's all very ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Shadow Wolves? I don't know. I would skip it. See, we just intermittently talk about Shadow Wolves for a second and say keep saying skip it.
Because I think we had this idea. I think talking about Criminal Minds as a
Yeah, go
show, and I think one of the things we talked about, right, is that the idea with this is that this is a lesson to all you young actors.
Oh yes,
out there.
yes.
You get yourself on a network TV show, right? Even if you're the big name on that network TV show, if it's running and it's great, don't kick a producer because the next thing you know, you're going to be having a mustache in a movie like this.
And you're gonna be straight to Tubi basically at a
Yeah.
movie no one's ever heard of called Shadow Wolves.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
and then I'm looking at our notes. Go ahead, please.
I was going to say you're going to be the one who's trying to sell the movie, right? Like the whole thing is that this movie's got
Great
Hotch
point.
on the cover, and people who like Criminal Minds are going to be paging through and seeing like, oh, there's Hotch in this. I'll check this out.
Yeah, I haven't seen
And-
Hotch in a while because he kicked that
Right.
producer has no job. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, it's like the oldest. I mean, it's obviously, kicking the producer's extreme, but it seems like this kind of thing happens so often. And you very seldom get like the David Caruso redemption story where he gets another show,
that's
where
true.
he,
Yeah,
because he burned that bridge with NYPD Blue, but then he gets NCIS Miami
that's true. Oh no, CSI.
or CSI Miami. Yes.
And there's also let's not forget the other short-lived show he was on. Remember this one, Michael Hayes, talking about Caruso.
Yes.
And it's like I think he was just a lawyer. They ever make a lot of these lawyer shows. But I was looking at our notes when you were watching this the other day. It's just,
Yeah.
it's so ridiculous. I can just read them a little bit. It's like we said, poor Hotch, poor Hotch, poor Graham Greene.
Yeah.
And we were saying, how many times can we say Hotch in one sentence? I think if people start counting how many times we say Hotch in this podcast, you could do a drinking game, which I don't, do that if you want, but be careful.
Yeah. I was suggesting because I had Scott Murphy on recently. We talked about The Keeper with Seagal, and he was talking about we were talking about the drinking game idea, like for Seagal, right? Like every time you see somebody else, his double, or every time he does, he doesn't do his ADR, do a drink. And we were saying like Yeah, we were talking about alternatives to alcohol, and one of them I recommended was hop water because it tastes kind of like beer, but it's like spring water or like sparkling water,
Oh,
that
I
kind
thought you
of
were gonna
thing.
say Hotch water. Is that his new
Hotch
idea
water.
for? It's like
That would
it's
be
kind of like
amazing.
Trump water. It's just like I tell you, Trump water, great water.
Can you?
I don't drink it though.
That would be the spring water that they could sell at the
On
UnSub
Subway.
Shop.
Yeah, it'd be
Right.
Hotch
You could
water.
have Hotch water. Yeah, and it would have
Well,
hops, and then
Hotch
it
or
would have
cold,
like
right?
right Hotch or cold. Yeah, well, yourself Hotch or cold.
I know there's also
Yeah.
this Hotchburn. We talk about Hotchburn. So, but I'm looking at this, and it's very similar. Hotch Wolves, I called it.
Yeah.
That we said that it needed Scott Baio. Now that's a really good
Yes.
point.
Yeah. How did that?
wow.
That came up because Cody Walker, or the poor man Scott Walker,
Yeah.
he was sitting Chachi style, right? He had the seat backwards when he was sitting. So he was sitting. We always call that Chachi style, and then it turned into this thing of like, wow, this movie actually could have used. And I think we talked about like the problematic aspect of Scott Baio, but like even if he's problematic for a movie like this, he would have saved the day a bit.
I think he would. I think, like we said, that he would have saved the movie because he's like, oh look, it's Scott Baio and Hotch. That would have been amazing.
Right, yeah.
And there was like Kevin Dillon. He could have saved this movie too because I want Hotch to yell at him, and then Kevin Dillon has a befuddled face.
Right.
He gets yelled at by anyone else. It's like just get yelled at by Hotch. Getting yelled at by Hotch doesn't seem that intimidating either. By the way, it's just like
No.
because
he doesn't yell, right?
No,
he
just
berates the person. Like he essentially tells his assistant that she's an ignoramus. But that's what
I remember
essentially,
that,
right? Like, because she'll be like, I don't think you should be doing this. And he's like, listen, you have no idea what's going on here. You're an ignoramus. Just let me take care of it.
That's a good impression of Hotch. It's like, you got to do this thing for me. I'm Colonel Hotch. And it's like, but the thing about Baio is it's he was in Charles in Charge, right? And of course, Chachi. Well, Joni Loves Chachi. That was a show, right? It's
exactly.
Like,
it was a spinoff. Yeah.
And then let's not forget about Scott Baio was like 38 and pregnant or reality show.
Yes.
I should have watched that. Maybe it's on DVD.
It was ridiculous because he was like a jerk who could he was like essentially just like kind of like how Christopher Knight was on the
Brady
show
thing
that he did.
What's her name?
Yeah, exactly. Where it's just like he's this former child actor who just kind of acts like a jerk and is used to being a jerk, and eventually he decides like I shouldn't be a jerk. I should be good to this woman because she's probably the best I'm going to do.
Exactly. So, like I'm Scott Baio. I mean, like it was Adrienne something, right? That was Christopher Knight's wife.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Curry.
Yeah,
Adrienne Curry. Can't believe I remember.
Yeah, because they were on Surreal Life together, I think.
That's right. Yeah.
They met on that together. Yeah.
But yeah, Baio. See, Baio thinks he's maybe better than this Real Life.
Yeah.
Because I think I would like to rewatch Charles in Charge. I only seen bits and pieces as a kid. So maybe it's hanging around somewhere. Maybe it's a complete series from like Mill Creek Entertainment or something. I always see that.
That's a good question. Yeah.
But yeah, I was looking at this and I started doing the Trump thing. It's like, totally love Chachi. Trump loves Chachi. That's the real Chachi. Okay? It's like, great guy, Charles in Charge, my favorite charge. Should be called Trump in Charge, okay? And it's like, I totally was in charge in 2016 till 2020. But it's like, and now I'm not, okay? So it's like, and then I guess we're talking about Carl Sagan as an action. As you can see, we're not talking about Shadow Wolves because it's not very good.
Right. We had all kinds of stuff happening here.
Yeah, I know. We're just so many tangents because, like, right, Shadow Wolves. It's like, I guess I would skip Shadow Wolves. Wait, we're talking about Hotch again? Okay, yeah. So you were saying that Hotch is lecturer's assistant, but he was standing. He wasn't a sit-down role for Hotch.
So there were a couple moments where he was standing. I mean, the other thing too is he does have a couple scenes. Like he has that scene where some guy tries to attack him outside of his brownstone. So he has a few scenes outside of where we'd normally just be behind his desk. So that is an interesting thing to keep. That he's not always just behind his desk. I think, which is important.
That's helpful, but I feel like Hotch definitely needs better. It's funny, we're making fun of Hotch the whole time, but because let's not forget about Dharma and Greg. From 1997 to 2002, right? It's like,
yeah.
So if people remember Dharma and Greg, I assume. I was looking it up on the New York Times in 1997. And so Dharma Finkelstein is a free spirit, and then she meets Greg Montgomery, an assistant United States attorney of an upper crust San Francisco family, and they fall in love and get married that very night. but that Dharma always jumping around being a free spirit. So it's like mad about you, but maybe dumber. It's like,
right, exactly.
I never really watched Dharma and Greg, but now I kind of want to watch it because maybe he acts like Hotch to Dharma or Jenna Elfman. But it's like, I'm assuming she's called Dharma, kind of like he's called Hotch. So it's like, so isn't she on another show? Oh wait,
Yeah, so
I'm
she
mixing
ended
up.
up being
I'm
on
mixing
Monk.
up Monk. Okay, you know what? I'm mixing up Tia Leone and Jenna Elfman.
Oh, right, yes. Yeah.
Oops. But I mean,
no,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Jenna Elfman ended up. No, that wasn't Jenna Elfman. That was the woman from Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place who ended up on
Oh,
Monk.
oh yes. It's Ryan Reynolds' best word.
Right. Yeah.
I bet the thing about Ryan Reynolds is that he has to keep being acerbic all the time. He can't stop.
Yeah.
He just can't stop. It's like if he's not, then it's like, what? You're not Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
I bet he's a little tired of doing that, but I guess that's his personality. You know, the Canadian snark, which is fine. It's in certain doses, it's fine. It's like
that's a good question. You know, I wonder if you're with him, if he just
like
is
that?
completely right. Like if he just everything is like completely he's just doesn't care about anything, right? Like or doesn't have anything to say about anything.
I think he's stuck. Ryan Reynolds is stuck in that role. He is like Hotch. So it's like you can always just revert right back to Hotch. So
well, that's the key, right? Is I think the difference between Ryan Reynolds' career and Thomas Gibson's or Hotch's career is Ryan Reynolds has never kicked a producer on any of his projects.
No, he has not. It's like
it's amazing. It seems like such a high bar, right? Like just no physical violence but it is interesting that some people have trouble with that.
Like, why would you even kick him? It's like, why? I think he's already was on thin ice.
Okay.
I think so. And it's like, well, I'm not sure when he got fired. I forget. Maybe season 12. I'm trying to remember. Because and they had this really ridiculous part in Criminal Minds. It was like, well, where's Hotch? It's like, well, Hotch is not coming back anymore. And they go, why? Well, because he's not. And it's like he's just with his family, and he's like on, it's on trial forever. It's like he went underground. It's like, really, see, that's the thing. If I didn't know about the kicking, maybe he's like, oh, okay, he left. But it's just like, but it's so obvious that he's just gone. Yeah. And then and then Padgett runs the team for a while.
Yeah.
But and then Shamar Moore leaves, but Garcia's still around being annoying. But but I guess that's her character. But she's really annoying in this new one, I'd say. It's called Garcia Evolution.
Oh, interesting. I was thinking with Padgett, right? You could have the Padgett panini. That would be a good.
Yeah, that's right. We had a Padgett panini, and she opened up some brewskis for the river cutting. So it's
that's right.
Yeah, the Padgett panini. What would be in that? Would be maybe some chicken, maybe some hot peppers.
Yeah.
Let's see, some pepperoni.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think with the cheese, I don't know if you get a good some kind of a white cheese, like a cheddar, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
I don't know if
cheddar.
provolone's too much for that. Maybe mozzarella. I guess. Well, if you make it like an Italian style, right? Then you do maybe with the pepperoni. I guess provolone would work
good.
Too.
And you could put on some hot sauce.
Yes, it's hot sauce.
The hot sauce.
Yeah.
It's really kicking.
That spicy aioli that they use on the Hotch one. I bet they bottle that and sell it as a Hotch sauce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can say, "Hi, I'm hot," or "Hi, I'm Hotch." It's fine. Spicy aioli. It really kicks up a storm. Any producer will love it or not. Maybe it'll be funny if maybe he can come back. The Hotchster. I don't know though. I think he might be in the straight to video department now.
He's done. I think he's done. Yeah, I think
he's done.
Because the other thing too is I don't know. I was thinking he's getting up there in age, and 62 now, and that. Oh, sorry, he's born in 62.
He's 62. Oh, okay.
He's good. Born in 60, so he's actually 60. He's going to be 61 this year. So he'll be.
Wow, that's a little up there for the Hotchster.
Yeah.
Oh,
and so actually, this is the only thing he's done since Criminal Minds. Now, he does have something coming up, but Shadow Wolves, and then he did the voice in a movie called Axis in 2017.
Okay.
Oh, and then he has a movie coming up called The Writer's Bible that's in post-production.
Oh, it's in post. Okay. Totally in post. I wonder
struggling with writer's blocks. Checks into rural Texas cabin. Oh, so is he going to be doing faith movies? I wonder if he's going to start doing faith films.
That would be great. I think that's his next step. It's just kind of I think it might. I don't think it's gone to our theater in North Haven, Connecticut, but there was a new Left Behind movie. And
Oh
it has
yes,
Kevin Sorbo and I think Neil McDonough.
yes,
I think he might play the devil. I don't know. I haven't done much research. But I'll check that out. I like Neil McDonough.
Yeah.
You know, I want. He does play a lot of the same roles a lot, so I'm assuming maybe he doesn't play the devil. But I was watching 911 Lone Star. No, go ahead. Because he.
Oh no, go ahead.
McDonough.
No, yeah, because
McDonough's on 911 Lone Star. Rob Lowe, and you can see how Neil McDonough just kind of just blows off Rob Lowe off the screen. Because it's like, because Rob Lowe is just the most relentlessly okay actor of all time. And it's like, yeah, he's okay. It's like, I think he almost knows that too, Rob. But he knows that he's just okay. He has really not much range. He could do this role, I guess. But Neil McDonough's hang around on Now One Lone Star. He's like his buddy. It's not I don't know if you watch that show.
No, so I haven't seen that one as much. That's one that also is like I get advertised a lot when I'm watching football games, and I'm like, oh, I should check that one out. So
you're not missing anything because now they don't even do like ambulance distress calls. It's now like Rob Lowe is like defusing a bomb in a truck. And then it's like, I thought this is on 911 calls, but then I thought, well, I think Rob Lowe is also lazy because a lot of the episodes he's not really in it much. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm on a motorcycle or something. It's just like, I might have mentioned in the last podcast, but he's getting lazy again. I don't think he wants to be on the 911 set.
You know, I think it's a hard thing, right? I think we sort of take it for granted, right? That actors are rich and they make all this money. But I think it's got to be a hard thing when you've got like the security of a weekly TV series and you've got that weekly paycheck coming in that like, you're always going to have. And so then it's like, whatever that they spend on in their extravagant lifestyle, like they just know that they're always going to have money coming in to afford it. And I imagine it's got to be a really tough thing to want to ever give that up. Like you really have to know. Yeah, like you've got to be like Michael J. Fox, knowing that you've got like, Back to the Future and all the Teen Wolf and all these big movie roles out there for you to want to leave.
Spin City money. Like that was the lead into Dharma and Greg, right?
Right. I think it was. That's a good point.
It was.
Yeah. Right. That's right. When his movie career started to wane a little bit, then he goes back to TV. But that's the other thing too, right? If you're good enough, you can leave to do movies and then come back and get a TV role again and still get that like regular paycheck.
And that's, but I think when you're like a Michael J. Fox,
exactly. Whereas really like Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe could do that. He could jump into some movies, but he's not going to the theater.
No, that's the thing, right? Rob Lowe needs that 911 paycheck because it's the best he's got right now. And so you're right.
He's the main dude in that, basically.
Yeah.
If he's making a movie, he's going to be a supporting. It's like
exactly.
I know he wants to be a main role, but I was looking at Rob Lowe's career, and he's made a lot of stuff. I mean, like he's always working.
Yeah.
Like, but all of his movies and shows are kind of like, man, I never watched West Wing. I know people love that. My aunt loves West Wing. Yeah. It's like I don't really care about people talking in that silly way that they film it. It's like, oh, okay, so the budget decrees. It's like, okay.
Right. It's like walking and talking a lot. Yes,
walking and talking. It's like, okay, let's give that a rest. And then people just make fun of that back now. I did see an episode of West Wing for like a second, and what happened was Martin Sheen was like getting mad in the war room. It's like, we have no absolutes. We don't say no to terrorism. Right. It's like, I'm Jed Bartlett. And it's like, okay. I don't think Rob was even on the show. I think he left.
I don't think at that point.
Because he likes to leave shows. He has like a interesting behind the scenes on making the Lion's Den, Rob Lowe. Mm-hmm. Remember that program?
Oh, good. Oh, yes. Yeah. I'd forgotten about that.
And he says that it was just, not really that fun to make. Same with, I think I like to know about Dr. Vegas because this is also a good segue because Tom Sizemore passed away. He was on that show. He really is gone. They were talked about him not being gone. He's officially gone. And it's I know that hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and
that's really sad.
You watched that movie with Belding, right? And he was in it.
Abstruse. Yeah, that's the last thing I think I saw with him.
What a weird title.
I know. Yeah.
We watched. I was looking up Tom Sizemore on our site. It's like, well, what do we have? Oh, we have Shadows in Paradise. Mm-hmm. And what's it called? Crossing Point. And Assassin's Game. Did you watch any of those?
Assassin's sounds familiar, right? Does that
Has Vivek A.
sound about right?
Fox, Tom, and Bai Ling, and some like
Yeah.
a guy that could be the new Matt Hannon, but not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's sad that he's gone.
Yeah.
He did a lot of good work.
Yeah, because he was. I mean, you think about like a lot of the shows that he did that we thought were going to be like. Remember Robbery Homicide when that one came out?
Yeah,
Like,
I liked that show. It was good.
yeah,
Yeah,
everyone thought it was going to
Homicide.
be great, and I don't know if it just didn't work because he had trouble.
Yeah, maybe
keeping it together with it, or if it just like people at that time there were too many procedurals out there, and they just thought that was okay, that's one too many.
A glut. Yeah,
yeah,
because
he really. Yeah, I thought I was like it was what I guess.
Oh, he really was. I'm sorry, he really was. I cut you off.
Oh no. I was thinking like I think he was he was what you expected for, but maybe it was hard keeping him on set to do a TV show like that. I don't know.
I hear being on TV does take a long time, so it's like you gotta really have patience.
Yeah,
I don't think he has the patience.
No, yeah. It's.
But I liked
the
show when it was on. Yeah, it's a shame that he passed away. Yeah. But he has a lot of good work behind him. A Natural Born Killers. I think that's his best work.
Yeah. Or I mean, I still will always love Point Break when he
I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, between the putting the beer on the cereal, because I tried that once and it was horrible and I shouldn't have done it. But then also when he goes to Busey and Keanu Reeves and complains about them screwing his bus, and he's like, "Do you think I like this hair, man?" And I love that. That was just one of my favorites.
Great. And
yeah,
I know.
So
I kind of have a Tom Sizemore impression. Sometimes I do it in the PG version, but it's like, "You mother trucker!"
right.
He's always yelling. And I don't know if you ever watched him on the Shooter program that Ryan Phillippe, which I would check out.
No, I know. No, I've never watched that show. I've been meaning to check
watch
that
it.
one
He's
out.
not in it much. He's in it about half the season of the first season, and then he had some troubles. If you look that up too, but what you get of Tom Sizemore is amazing because he's really just saying whatever he wants, says whatever he wants. It's kind of an insane performance. I don't think he even talks to Phillippe. I think he's just kind of one of these behind the scenes guys. Have you ever seen the movie of Shooter?
I remember the movie. Yeah, because the funny thing about the movie is it was shot here in Philadelphia. And
really?
But the funny thing is when you watch like the chase scene when it happens here in Philadelphia, the places don't match. Like they don't fit together. Yeah, like they don't go. Like where he's like at one point he's like one place, and then like the next scene he's like 3 or 4 miles away. So it's like
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because what's great about Shooter, the movie with Mark Wahlberg, is it's like you've seen it, right?
Oh yes, I've seen that one. Yeah.
So I won't give it away if people haven't seen it. People almost at 20 years to see it now, but someone says, "Oh, I'm a United States senator," and then Mark always goes, "Exactly," and shoots this person, and that's my only Mark Wahlberg impression. But it's like, the movie's amazing. I gotta rewatch it. I mean, I saw it in the theaters. Like, this is pretty. At first, I thought the ending was a little tacked on when I first watched it. Then it's like, oh, okay, no, okay, I'm wrong. It was amazing. It's like, and they never made a Shooter 2. They never made the show, but I check out the show because if you like Tom Sizemore, he's fun in that. Strange Days, of course. What's the other one I'm thinking of? Well, people they only show. I'm looking at the RIPs, and they only show Saving Private Ryan. Yeah. It's like, well, it's a good movie, and he's in it, In Black Hawk Down, what's the Pearl Harbor? Did you ever see that? He's barely.
I have. That's the Michael Bay one. I need to see that one.
It's actually pretty good. I know people bash it or whatever. It's really because what's really funny about it. Because I'm not sure she gives us away or not. Maybe I will if you don't mind. Is that they do Pearl Harbor. Here comes Pearl Harbor. Everyone dies, and then they have a revenge mission. They go and take down the people from Pearl. Take down the agents from Pearl Harbor, and it's just you gotta be kidding me. I mean, that was hilarious. I cracked up. It's like, you actually went for that. It's like, we're going to take these people out. It's like, I don't think that really happened. but Tom's barely in that one. It's like, I'm a mechanic. It's like, okay.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I know like Catherine Bigelow, who did Point Break, she loved having him in everything. She was
oh, that's right. She was in Blue Steel too. So Blue Steel, Strange Days, and Point Break. Yeah, it would be great if he was in the Hurt Locker or what's that movie? Or Zero Dark 30. Wouldn't it be great if he was in Zero Dark 30? That would have been amazing. He would take over the James Gandolfini role, which
Oh man,
that would be great. Or he could yell at Chastain, who's secretly old, and it's just like you're secretly old. It's like, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. But I guess but we can always think about that. I don't want to end on a sad note. I just saw that.
No, I mean it is good because we were talking about it because we'd seen that I'd seen that Robert Davi tweet that he was like kind of jumping the gun on.
He jumped the gun on
best.
Bob Davi.
And
people call him that.
Bob, yeah, right, exactly. Bobby Davi.
Bobby Dav.
Yeah. But yeah, I think now that we know, like it's official, you're right. It is kind of it's sad news to hear, and I think for the kind of movies that we watch, because I think we kind of for what we cover on our sites, right? He shows up enough on those kinds of movies.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. But then also like we watch so many other movies that we see him in, like whether they're like you said, like mainstream TV shows or like mainstream movies, and he was always that guy. I mean, I know we were talking about we want to try to see him in stuff with Madsen, and I think there are a couple films that he did with Michael Madsen.
Talked about that. They never made a movie. I mean, there was that weird thing, right? You mentioned that weird race car thing.
So they've done. I guess they've done a few things recently, but they did this weird race car thing that I did find. I've been able to track down a copy of it.
Trailer.
You watched the trailer? Yeah, it's like two racers, like two indie racers. I can't remember if it was like Bobby Unser and Michael Andretti or some two guys that didn't get along, and they were playing the parts of the racers in interviews discussing things.
That's
crazy. Really fascinating.
It's so crazy, and like, also Tom Sizemore made a movie that never really came out. It was a punch fighter. It's called No Rules. And I think it has baby Joe Rogan and Pam Anderson, some other people that we all like.
Yeah,
it's like and some other like punch fighting meatheads. Let me look that up, and then we could probably wrap up. Let me just look that up for a second. So, hold on. Someone's. I don't know if you heard that. It was our computer.
Oh no,
you didn't hear that?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, remember, I mean, I was just thinking about one of my favorite roles of him was when he played Pete Rose in Hustle, and he just played this like. I mean, he's just this like ambling schlub that he made Pete Rose into. It was just absolutely hilarious. It was the most amazing thing I think I'd seen. I mean, cause I loved. There was the other, ESPN original that had Brian Dennehy, the late Brian Dennehy.
Oh, season on the brink.
Season on the brink,
that was
right?
good.
And
then there was
Tilt with
Madsen too.
Tilt with Madsen.
Yeah, poker. You should look that up because Madsen was like complaining about being on that. It's like, it took forever to make because you had to do all these different shots for the poker scenes.
Exactly.
So, No Rules. So it came out in 2000. It was supposed to come out in 2005, and it has Gary Busey, Randy Couture, David Shark Freilich, Frank Shamrock, and Tom Sizemore, and some guy named Sal Pacino. It's like Sal Pacino. And also Kathy Pacino. Are they related to Al? It was just like, I don't know Kathy or Sal. Never heard of him, Kevin. Devil's Advocate, great movie.
It never made it. Yeah, Don Fry. We never got it. We never.
Hey, like it could be the new Bad Guys in Hell or something. Because I think there's a trailer hanging around. I think Randy Couture or Joe Rogan or something. It's like, that wasn't very good. I was like, I'd like to see the movie, sir, and make my own. Oh, Bruce Buffer is also in it as an announcer.
Oh, as the announcer? Yeah, Philip Tan. I mean, all kinds of names in this.
Oh, Gene LaBelle. I think didn't he like choke out Seagal or something?
Oh, that's the one, right? That it supposedly caused him to crap his pants when he did. I think that's the story, right? Well, because the idea
because he got his bell rung.
Right, the Gene LaBelle was like he said that Seagal's like, I can get out of any chokehold.
Yeah.
And I guess his way of getting out of the chokehold was supposed to be like punching somebody in the groins. That was his way of getting out. And Gene LaBelle just like took it and just like kept it and kept choking him out.
That's amazing. Also, Lazy Bone's supposed to be in this movie. So there's Busy Bone and Lazy Bone? He's not Lazy Bone.
How did we never get to see this movie? Like what? Yeah, you're right.
Like caught up in this like weird, this happens to movies sometimes where it gets caught in like these litigations. Look at all those Madsen movies. Now look at this No Rules. But maybe because he's gone, Tom. Maybe there'll be a resurgence of an idea to get it back. It's like,
some of these people can get this thing.
Long shot.
15
years old. I'm looking up Lazy Bone for some reason. Oh yeah, because he's in No Rules. But it's like,
this thing has a full-on cast. Like it's
amazing.
I mean, it lists all the stunt actors. It lists the electrical department. Everything is completely listed here. So for this thing to not have gotten released, something must have happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd
they
love
even
to
have Tom
know.
Sizemore's double listed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
There's a trailer. I think there's still a trailer hanging around YouTube. Not that this sounds like this could date me when this comes up, but my YouTube isn't working on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
The app. It's just like I know
Right.
it's like it doesn't work. It says this something is wrong. Please try again. So I deleted the app and redid it. It still doesn't work. I think there's a glitch in the system.
Yeah.
But I know that sounds so dated now. People look at this 20 years later, like, why is this on YouTube? Wait, oh, right, Shadow Wolves. No, it's kidding. No, it sucks. Here we go.
Yeah. I think the
To wrap it
ultimate,
up,
like
I
that
guess.
kind
Yeah.
I guess if we're putting a button on it,
Yeah.
Operation Seawolf, go out and watch as soon as I think if you're a Dolph fan in particular, I think this is the Dolph that you've been wanting for a little. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
At least from my end of it, I think that's a really good one.
It's a
So
quality Dolph. Yeah.
yeah, and then I think Shadow Wolves, even if you're a huge Hotch fan from Criminal Minds, or if you're a Graham Greene fan, I think that too. It's not going to work. I don't. It just doesn't do the
It
trick.
just doesn't
No.
do it because you don't care. It looks like
Yeah.
garbage. Hotch is
Yeah.
hotching it up, but he's just like, I'm Hotch, I have a mustache. It's like that's all you get. It's just like I think we kind of knew that from the outset when we watched this one. It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I watched it first before I watched Seawolf. I knew Seawolf might have been better.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could just tell. But hopefully the next time we do this, we can do. I think we have a Bruce on the docket. Maybe survive the game.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
think we'll get back into Bruce the next time around. I think it's going to be interesting to know how people respond with this one because when we did the one with the what was it the two Bruces, or I think we did two Bruces and a Dolph.
We did American. We did Section 8, and then we did what was it, American Siege? No, it was
No.
Oh, it was Wrong Place.
Wrong Place, right?
And what was the other one? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was Corrective Measures.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, the Texas
right.
Battle. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see: is it Dolph that moves the needle, or can Dolph move the needle on his own, or was it the fact that we had? Because that was an episode that definitely got a lot of buzz. And I think, is it because it was Dolph and Willis together, or can Dolph by himself? Like, is people interested enough in Dolph by himself? But I think the Willis thing, there is an appetite for the Willis thing, it seems like, and I think it's because people want to make sense of these Willis movies, and I think they appreciate the way we approach them.
We do our best to put them together. I mean, like, it's going to get even harder now because I'm hoping Paradise City comes up on free.
Yes,
because that'd be perfect. That'd be a good one for Salvation and Paradise City, because you got some pretty good cast in both of those.
Yeah,
and this is a movie. Those movies would go to the theater, like in 1998 or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you got Bruce Willis and John Travolta back together. Oh my goodness!
Exactly.
It's John Malkovich and De Niro.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And just nope.
Yeah, I mean, these would have been box office gold in the 90s. These would have been TNT New Classics, and now they're just Emmett Furla Oasis 90-minute slogs in a lot of cases.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like now they're just slogs. Especially you kind of feel almost to for Malkovich. Like he really does not care lately. He's really hitting the skids. It's like I think he must need money or something. I think he must have 5 homes or something like that. Because if he's in these garbages like this, like wow, he must really need money. Because I thought he was classy.
Yeah.
It's just or not. Or
I guess
he's. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I wonder if Randall Emmett sells these things as like, hey, you're in between big screen projects. Give me a week and I'll give you $60,000.
That's a good point. I can't do John Malkovich. I know Bill Hader does a really good Malkovich.
Does he?
It's it is amazing. I wish I could do Malkovich, but it's like I can't do it. But sure, it's like
right.
I wish I could. Let's Malkovich play. It's played by Trump or whatever. It's like, right. But I can. That's insane. But I did just buy Crossbones, the TV show that Malkovich was on. He plays Blackbeard.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that? I got it for a great deal online. It's like I'm Blackbeard. I can't do Malkovich. I just can't. I feel like I can do it, but I can't. You ever have that feeling? It's like it's in your head, his voice, but I can't do the impression.
That one. Yeah. Wait, that one was kind of there. That was a quick one, wasn't it? It was.
It was on in the summer or something a long time ago. I think I even recorded it on my TiVo. And it's
Yeah.
just like I remember it was just on like in May to like August, like, okay, here's a show on a screen. I think I enjoyed the program. I just
Mhm.
haven't seen it in so long. So
Yeah.
I got it for $4 on eBay. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's a pretty good deal. But
Yeah.
I don't want to take up all your time. I just want hopefully we can do this again soon. Maybe we can do it if we're still waiting for Salvation and
Well, yeah.
Paradise City, we could do Bruce's.
We've got some Bruces in the hopper. I know we've got White Elephant available. We got.
Oh, that's right.
We,
That's right. White Elephant. Yeah, I always saw that. I mean, I can't remember most of it. And Malkovich is like a
Yeah.
similar role in White Elephant.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm Malkovich. I'm here. It's like,
Right,
but you don't.
right.
But I can't. He doesn't do anything. You'll see when you watch it. It's like,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
are you here? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like the worst one's Rogue Hostage, which I watched about a year ago. It's like,
with Michael Jai White. I've been meaning to check that one out.
oh no,
It says
Tyrese.
Michael Jai White.
Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah. Was it Michael Jai White in it too, or no?
I don't remember him being in that. It's like
I thought he had like a small part.
Oh, maybe it's a blink and you miss. I don't remember. It was just so boring.
Maybe I'm mistaking it for another one where he has a small part.
Yeah. I don't remember much about Rogue Hostage except that it was boring. And nothing happened like the whole movie. I think it was shot during the virus stuff, so it's like it's really, 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 really sparse. So
it says Michael J. White's played somebody named Sparks in it,
and that memory is gone. It's gone. I don't remember him being in that at all.
Sitting. It shows a picture of a screenshot of him sitting next to Tyrese Gibson, just like talking about something. Like they're just kind of like,
maybe that rings a bell. I think it's so hard to remember because it was so boring. And then John Malkovich is like a senator. I don't know. You don't care. But I don't want to end on a Tyrese note. Tyrese in some other movie. Before I let you go, actually, I do remember. I think Tyrese is in another movie and it has Jeremy Piven. Now he's canceled.
Jeremy Piven has. I didn't know that.
If the Pivs is back, I think he's in some garbage. Maybe it could be on Tubi. I forget the title. It's like jail sentence or something like that. I can just look it up. But I'll look it up now. That's perfect for this podcast that we're doing.
Yeah. Some Piven could be interesting, especially since we've been digging into like the Kevin Dillon stuff. Like Jeremy Piven.
The system. I want to call it jail sentence. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty close. The system. So it's amazing. It's got Tyrese and Terrence Howard and Jeremy Piven and Little Yachty.
No idea
I don't know who I have heard of this Little Yachty person, but I bet that's really funny. I bet it's hilariously bad.
That sounds fantastic.
That sounds great.
He plays Terry Savage. Tyrese does. He plays
amazing name.
Yeah.
And, Jeremy Piven plays the warden. That's amazing. I was gonna say end of the line drama.
This could be interesting, right? Because we were talking about like prison slogs. You were just saying how we had a sub slog to start 2023 that wasn't a slog, right? It was a sub movie that wasn't a slog.
This could be the jail slog that beats the jail slog. Because Corrective Measures I thought was a slog, and now it's a jail slog. So
imagine if we end up with a no jail slog with this one. If this one beats the jail slog.
Right now, I guess you have to pay. But I'll keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, we'll give it some time. We'll see what happens.
I'm on the case. Yeah, this could be a hit.
Right,
but I don't want to take up all your time. Well, I would say thanks again for.
Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to plug?
Oh, that's right, the plugs.
We got to do the plugs, right? We got to plug it up.
Yeah, I'm plugging it up. Okay, so plugging it up. Okay, I'll plug it up with there's the podcast .net is the website, and then there's the podcast Comeuppance Reviews is the podcast on all your favorite pods like Apple, and then. Thai Action Rocks is the Instagram. That's where you usually find me. I posted a movie called Rockwell today.
Yes.
So that was it's very silly. It's like a Mormon Western. It has Carl Malone. It's good. It actually is pretty enjoyable. And that's about it. And I think that's it. Yeah, thanks again for doing this. It's been fun. I think it's our fourth one, I think.
This has been a really great thing. For people who don't know, the genesis of this idea for these episodes was I did a solo one on Bruce Willis, and then you heard it and you were like, hey, I'd kind of like to do some Bruce Willis stuff with you. And we've just been doing this. Pick a couple of movies. We have a couple rules. Like one is that we both have to be able to get it for free or like easy, that kind of thing. But we try to go in that Emmett Furla Oasis kind of movie. But obviously, if a new Dolph comes out that's available on Tubi, we kind of throw everything out the window for that.
Exactly.
And then with the Criminal Minds thing, we threw it out the window for Hotch here, and I think we probably learned our lesson on that one.
No more Hotch. But I guess Hotch is on break. Maybe we can do a repeat of Dharma and Greg.
Yes,
Dharma and Hotch. It's like, that'd be great. I'd like to see Dharma and Hotch. Yeah, that'd be great. I should end on that. I'm not gonna say any more stuff. I'm gonna end on that one. So
that's no worries. but thank you again for coming on. This was a great one. I said, I can't wait for us to do the next one here.
Yeah,
and
we'll do it very soon. And then we could do No Subject soon in our pod. I think we have some great ones for that one too. So we're very close to setting it up. Maybe somewhere, maybe late March or early April. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you everybody for listening. We'll see you again soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye everyone.
Director